Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion on all things well-being. My name is Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I am here it's my joy, my pleasure to be here to help people become the boss of their brains, because thoughts, it's all about the thoughts, right? Learning to practice thought control, because thoughts come first and feelings come second, and actions or behaviors third. So therefore, by learning to acknowledge and control our thinking, we literally get a grip on our lives, and we feel better. Because if we don't allow those, sad, angry, we're not saying don't feel, to feel is to heal, but after that, after we kind of validate to move into a better place, we then feel better. So I am here in my fabulously fun office. Right there is my wizard hat, some Italian stuff, because I feel like I'm a born again Italian, even though my Irish self doesn't have one cell, but I love Italy and the food. Look at this is fun. Look at that, just breathe. Teaching is the greatest act of optimism, Manhattan. Okay, I've got the Beatles, should be the Stones, that's my favorite band. And up there we've got, today is a good day to have a good day. Look at that over there. My wizard suit, my gorilla suit. Yeah, I like to dress up. Don't look back, you're not going that way anyway. Oh, it's so good. And then, of course, dog wisdom, which says, be brave, take a nap, have fun, learn new tricks, make new friends, think for yourself, and show love. And right there, don't make me get my flying monkeys. All right, just a quick tour, because that was fun. Okay, today what we're going to talk about is becoming an ego slayer. And not of other people, because that's not nice, but of our own ego. Although once we get on the authentic path, we become more aware of other people's dysfunctional egoic thinking pretty easily, because it just becomes like a strong bad odor or something. I don't know, but so realize first and foremost is that, oh yeah, I'm representing too, because Halloween's my favorite, as most of you know. It's Halloween season. Anyway, okay, so become an ego slayer. So the ego is the evil twin of the authentic self. And obviously authenticity is what we're striving for. If you're watching these videos, you're done doing what you've been doing. It's not working for you anymore. And you're looking, you're on the authentic path in order to get to sort of find again your authentic self and turn it to the driver's seat, because that's what it's about. So the ego, usually injury happens somewhere along the line early in childhood, right? And we are looking for those fixes to feel good. And so when the authentic self kind of gets shoved aside into the passenger seat, the back seat, or even the trunk, we can look for these quick fixes, and the ego is super seductive. So the ego is looking for external approval. The ego is what's behind, and injury is behind codependency. So we're looking for external approval. Approve of me, because I'm not approving of myself on the inside that rib cage. How do you like that? Well, I'm not approving of myself, and we're not always conscious of it. The ego seeks out admiration and kudos and justification. The ego loves and needs to be right, so it's like a dope fix, and then the authentic self slides into a place of it's more important to be kind than right. And obviously there are exceptions to all of this, because there's certain times when something's an outlier or whatever, but the ego really needs to be right, loves to judge, loves to gossip, loves to seek out the external approval, because deep down, the person who's doing the people-pleasing behaviors, the rescuing behaviors, which are very codependent, there's overlap with both of those, and they often go together, and or they're a fixer in relationships. They're attracted to relationships, romantic or otherwise, where they get to be the king or queen pin and fix stuff. And so the people-pleasers, the rescuers, the fixers, are typically feeling quite unworthy underneath it all. They're not feeling they're not acknowledging or seeing their own value, and often not aware of it. Sometimes aware of it. Once you're aware of it, you're on the right track. So typically when they're not aware of it, they're I just think sometimes people who are picture the stereotypical kind of elitist. I'm not saying stereotypical, right? I'm not saying everybody. Stereotypical person who elitist type that has to have all kinds of expensive cars and clothes and all the titles and the country clubs and all that. Not always. Remember, not always. There's many times that can be about, since I'm not seeing, acknowledging any value on the inside, I'm going to wear it on the outside, and that can be just one example. And again, also the people pleasers and the rescuers and the fixers, because they are looking for their value on the outside since they're not feeling it on the inside. So when I rescue this person, I look, I'm getting a feel good dope fix out of that. And we're not saying not to be a good person. We're saying be a good person. It does, though, amount to if somebody's getting their self esteem from any of that, that's codependency. Because the authentic self knows that they're enough just for being them. And they can do good things because they want to do good things, but it's not a source of their self worth. That's the difference. So that comes down to, like earlier when we talked about mindful giving versus mindless giving, right? When that person who bakes brownies for every single PTO meeting, and she or he or they or everybody's everything all the time, which nobody can be, so they usually end up with a flu or something. Mindful giving, we feel, excited and authentically good, happy, joyful maybe. Mindless giving has us feeling exhausted, drained, and resentful. Even if it doesn't always catch on after like the first time, second time. But when you've, been the one baking the brownies, bringing everybody's kids everywhere to the Little League game, and nobody's noticing, and then you're feeling unappreciated, that's all ego. The ego wants to be appreciated. The authentic self is good. The authentic self is all set and doesn't need it. Does it feel good to be appreciated? Yes, but the authentic self doesn't go looking for it, because we appreciate ourselves. It's just not necessary. It feels great. We're not saying it doesn't, but we don't need to go looking for it. Versus the person with the codependent behavior, which just means that that those behaviors are driven. Those are being driven by high octane ego, the people pleasers and the rescuers and the fixers, and it's a whole different thing. So if you're starting to acknowledge that, that's a super good thing, because we want to stick with the positive. So if we're acknowledging it, do like this, like, hooray for me, I am realizing that this isn't working for me anymore. And also realize that it comes from someplace. When we're young kids and there's injury again, and we've maybe my backstory, the value of our own value has not been mirrored for us by our parents or whomever, and we've maybe had injury along the way, even child abuse and neglect. Neglect is abuse, but we've learned to change who we are to acquire love, and it was certainly true with me. I had to figure out, how do I get the good stuff, because just being myself isn't working. So you try to do these other things to please and change and alter yourself early on. Well, it's kind of like if somebody speaks another language in your house, like somebody speaks Italian or Arabic or something, and then as a young child, you'd pick up that language pretty quickly, right? Well, when you're not being valued and that value isn't being mirrored for you, and you learn that you got to change your dance to get the unconditional love that every child needs, not just wants, but needs, like you need to breathe oxygen, that child unknowingly just changes his or their dance to figure out, well, okay, how do I get this good stuff from mom and dad, or dad and dad, or whoever. That's kind of where it starts. And then we take it into our adult romantic relationships. We take it into our adult friendships, and we're not always aware of it. The thing is that the ego stuff is all false. It's seductive and it's false. So it's trying to, like, if you want plants to grow, it's kind of like watering them with a watering can that has a hole in it. Because the ego just gets that quick fix, that quick, like, dope fix from, oh, I got somebody's approval. And if somebody doesn't approve of us, even if it's like this much, the codependent, right, or their dysfunctional egoic thinking, will sometimes, unaware of it again, if even it's like the littlest thing, then what we often do is we exchange a little bit of niceness. I'm going to get a little bit of niceness and do what I think I know you like, and then you'll approve of me, and then we're okay again. You and I are okay again. I do this, I show up for that, I show up for this, I bring whatever, I bring double the wine to the thing or whatever. Okay, now we're good. I feel that we're good. Now I can go on with my day. That's and when I'm talking about an authentic thing, we're talking about just exchanging niceness for approval. And that's because deep down, from being little kids or whatever, we got used to that. Just like learning a second language in your house, we got used to chasing down our own value, and seeking it other places to feel good because it's not coming from the source in the house, whether it's mom and mom or mom and dad or granny or whoever. And we learned that. And so this can be a huge issue in our relationships as we get older, and obviously then gets into our parenting stuff and everything. So basically the guts of all this is shame, and I think we've talked a lot about that. And it versus guilt. Guilt is different. Guilt says I made a mistake, right? Guilt keeps us as a job. It keeps us from slashing people's tires, kind of extreme, or punching them in the schnoz, or saying vicious rumors or whatever. And then hopefully we feel bad and apologize or whatever. And whereas shame is I am the mistake. The shame is the most toxic feeling a human being can experience. It's just terrible. So it's that I'm not enough, I'm flawed, I'm defective, broken, damaged goods, and this is where the the ego comes into play to seduce all of that from out here, so that we feel better inside. And obviously, if we're going to win from within, we got to go in and do some work and reprogram that computer, because I know it sounds cliche and stuff, but it really is true that all we need is already in here. It might be we can't see it, or it's like, I'm thinking of like dry ice, which especially because it's Halloween, it's all there because the authentic self, she might be, or he might, or they might be pushed into to the passenger seat, the back seat, or the trunk, but she never leaves. The authentic self waits to be invited back into the driver's seat politely. So kind of once you shove the ego aside, the authentic self moves right back into the driver's seat, and you will know the difference because you are so in the groove. There are not words to say how great it feels to feel so good in your skin, as they say, to just, when the authentic self is in the driver's seat, you just don't give a shit about any of it. And it's not in a bad way. It's not like we're saying, oh, we don't care about people. We do care about people. We care authentically. And because we care authentically, we also become really good boundary setters. I know I mentioned Brene Brown did some good work with that, because she found in her research that the most compassionate human beings, the most compassionate people, were also good boundary setters. And guess why? Because they value themselves. We can't value other people if we don't value us. So we're busy running ourselves into the ground, letting ourselves become the giving tree at the stump level. I think you all know how I feel about that book. It should be called Codependency for Kids. No. So when we're authentic, we're in the zone, we are in the groove, and we feel, it doesn't mean bad stuff doesn't happen, but it's kind of like you inherently know that it'll be okay. It doesn't mean, of course, life throws curveballs, but it's just this authentic confidence that it's all going to be all right, and you just feel so good in your skin. You don't need this external stuff. You don't need to be right. You just, no, because you are living you have risen to the highest vibration or version of yourself, and you got the world by the ass. That's just what I'm saying right there. Okay, good place to end on. Become an ego slayer. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from my very fun office at Champlain College in Burlington, Vermont. Have a mindful day and an authentic day.